Hello everyone, nubkeks here and welcome back to Nub Raids. Two things right before we dive into the topic of today's video. Number one, you might have seen it already, but there is a new promo code in the game, right? Type in Raid Holiday, click confirm, and great stuff. Not much in terms of rewards, to be honest, but a few multi-battles, some energy refills, some silver might actually make a nice difference for you in trying to get through the fusion that is on right now. So there you go. That's going to help, especially because I think, as I said in my fusion guide video, I do think these couple of days here are fairly intensive with dragon and champion training all coming at the same time. So yeah, I think it's actually quite a nice little bonus right there. So that's thing number one. Thing number two then is tomorrow I will actually be streaming for CVC. Now, I do have some like health stuff going on. I'm definitely not feeling even close to 100% at the moment. Very much looking forward to a Christmas break, let me tell you. But I will come and I will stream CVC. I won't set a strict start time for this just because I'm not sure like when I'm going to feel up to it, but I will be on, so stay tuned. It'll be here on this YouTube channel and I will be live. Normally I'm live for about 2 hours or, you know, so maybe a bit over, maybe a bit less. We might lean it towards a bit less. We'll see how I'm doing, but I think it'd be just fun and cool to hang out with you guys, answer questions. It's a chill CVC, so we're just going to be, you know, hanging out and tweaking some stuff. I might actually build up a new Sand Devil team because there was a whole bunch of, literally within 5 minutes of me posting my video, Saf from HH Gaming came out and was like, aha, I have solved the problem of the Godseeker and Eerie team. So anyway, look, there we go. What are we talking about today though, guys? Well, we want to talk about STONESKIN. So you've collected some of this nice shiny STONESKIN armor, giving you STONESKIN either with 4 pieces for 1 turn or 6 pieces for 2 turns. And you want to know what are the best champions to put that STONESKIN armor on. So I'm going to cover my top 5 picks in today's video. You might not have all of these champions, but there's a decent chance you'll have some of them, and I'll suggest some alternatives as well. And really the idea is that you get some ideas for why STONESKIN is so good on that type of champion. Let's jump into number 1, a champion you may or may not have yet, but if you're getting STONESKIN, you will definitely get soon, and that champion is none other than Mithrala Lifebane. These are in no particular order, but she has to be in my top 5, there's no question. Why is Mithrala so good in STONESKIN? Well, it's because she is a cleanser, right? She comes in and cleanses your team, puts out Strengthen, and then a massive shield on your team as well. This makes it very difficult to actually take your team down if Mithrala comes in and basically rips all the debuffs off and replaces them with these really powerful defensive buffs. What STONESKIN does for Mithrala is it makes her almost very, very difficult to actually debuff, right? Because of her passive here, where it turns her resistance, her accuracy into resistance. You couple that with her resistance, you couple that with, you know, Great Hall bonuses to accuracy resistance, now doubling up for resistance. Faction Guardians, if you got that, the accuracy bonuses turning into bonus resistance. She becomes an extremely, extremely high resist champion, almost impossible to debuff. The way to get past that is to bring in increased accuracy, and that's where STONESKIN comes in, and STONESKIN gives you that protection, that even if a team comes in with increased accuracy, that STONESKIN is still going to give you that 50-50 that Mithrala won't have her stuff, won't be stripped, won't be crowd controlled. And that can just win you a fight, right? It's a 50-50 chance, but on arena defense, for example, sometimes that is all you need, and it makes it very difficult to actually attack Mithralas. Other alternative sets for Mithrala, you can run her in just like untouchable or immunity type gear, and that can work well too. But for me, I think against 99.9% of players, you're going to go for STONESKIN. The reason that you might not is if people have Astrolith, who she puts bombs that detonate after 1 turn that cannot be resisted. So this will just delete Mithrala, stuff like that. But that's very niche. That's going to be more something for higher end arena. Again, for 99.9%, I really recommend trying to get Mithrala in STONESKIN if possible. And this brings us to our first point, which is 4 pieces. That's all you need for her, okay? I think 4 pieces of STONESKIN is just fine. And that's going to make gearing her up much more easily because you can use your final 2 slots for whatever you want. Probably Perception is going to be your go-to set. It gives her really good stats, speed, and accuracy, which is exactly what she wants. but it gives you that freedom and the flexibility to mix and match your stone skin, pick the 4 slots that you want, and you're good. Because so long as she gets the cleanse off, you're pretty solid, and it's very difficult to kill her with no debuffs, strengthen, and a massive shield. She's going to be pretty safe even without that second round of stone skin. And stats I'd be looking to build on Mithrala. I'd be looking to build her resistance and accuracy pretty much as high as possible. I think a rough rule of thumb is that when you add the 2 together, she should have more resistance after you include her passive. She should have about, 100 to 200, probably more resistance than you could build on your best buff stripper with their accuracy. So what's the most accuracy I could build on a champion? Mithrala should way exceed that in terms of resistance when you build her. So that will help you judge for your account. I think, for example, my Mithrala has about 900 resistance total. So that's what you do for her. And then I like to build her a pretty decent speed. You can build her slower, though. It sort of varies. I have her around 250. You can definitely build her slower, more like 220. It sort of varies quite a bit. And then she's going to pick up some just defensive stats along the way. So there you go. That is Mithrala, number 1. Number 2 then. Going to number 2. A champion I feel like was almost... he came out way before Stoneskin came to the game, but it feels almost like he was designed for it, almost built for it. Number 2 is Mortu-Macaab. Mortu comes in and he has a passive here. 20% chance to unlock a secret skill whenever he's attacked, and a 20% chance to fill his turn meter by 25%. So Stoneskin giving you this massive shield, massive damage reduction, immune to all debuffs except bombs at the start of the fight. Guess what? Mortu is like, this is great. Throw me in there with almost no speed. They can just keep hitting my stone skin, and it's just giving more and more chances to unlock Peril and to fill my turn meter, so I'm good to go. Then Peril comes in. It's a double hitter. Ignore shield, block damage, and defense, and it blocks revive as well. And this is the other really nice thing, that for a damage dealer, which Mortu is, the set that you're giving up is a pretty big deal. You're going to be giving up Savage set if you put someone in Stone Skin, right? Giving up Savage, which is a lot of damage because it's ignore defense. Well, Mortu fully ignores defense on Peril anyway, so you don't really mind. His other skills not so good. So it's kind of a win-win. Mortu, pop him in Peril, and how do you build him? Very simple. You don't need any speed or attack or defense. 100% crit rate, then as much HP and crit damage as you can get. No resistance or accuracy needed. He is totally good. You can give him a bit of defense if you want, but it's really not important. Just lots of HP, lots of crit damage so that this move hits as hard as possible and kills people. And this is where the set does become very important as well. I would say if you can get him into 6-piece of Stone Skin, it's much better than 4-piece. But that can be difficult, right? To get 100% crit rate and tons of crit damage, that can be still pretty challenging. You could build him in 4-piece if you needed to, but I would be trying to put Mortu in 6-piece so he gets 2 whole turns to get through these perils. If he gets 2 perils off, that almost definitely wins you the fight. It's very hard for an enemy to come back from 2 enemies with block revive. So that is Mortu. Yeah, really built for Stone Skin. Going to number 3 then. Again, a champion that you may not have, but you will have eventually. That is Romantu. So, part of why I did this video was my collab with Eherbad recently, where we talked about, my tag arena defense and re-gearing my teams and rebuilding them. And one of the champions I have on my list to rebuild is actually Romantu because of the stuff we were discussing there. At the moment, I have Romantu in what I think would be the best alternative, which is, I guess another alternative would be like Mithrala immunity type gear. That could work as well. But I actually have him in triple perception, but I want to move him into 4-piece Stone Skin and 2-piece perception. And what is the reason we want the 4-piece perception? The 4-piece Stone Skin. We want him to have that one turn where he is protected by Stone Skin because we really want him to do Blood Wings. His other skills are actually very good, but they're not so important. We just want to make sure he gets that Blood Wings off. Okay. AoE with a buff strip, and then it can place block active skills or block passive skills. AoE on all the enemies. Extremely, extremely strong. Another really interesting reason to consider building Romantu in Stone Skin is that if you're going to use him in something like a speed team, it can really disrupt that speed tune because whenever he gets crowd controlled, it gives him a bunch of turn meter fill, increased speed, and a shield. And this stuff, while this is really good, it actually can mess you up quite a bit. And he can go before your cleanser and stuff like that, so he can't be cleansed, and then he won't get his buff strip in before your nuker goes. stuff can get kind of messy kind of quickly. So STONESKIN just sort of smooths that out for turn 1 and makes sure that he's going to get his blood wings off where you speed tuned him to go. And that's sort of the key with it as well. You can build Romantu fast. That can work. You can also build Romantu very, very slow. You could build him basically 1 speed faster than your nuker. And that's good, right? That's all you need. Just have him strip all their buffs off and then your nuker goes right after. It's extremely unlikely they'd be able to cut in with just 1 speed between the two. And beautiful. There you are. They get to nuke the enemy team with their passive skills turned off and no defensive buffs at all. So that can be a big win, and you can run a nice slow nuker with a nice slow Romantu and get away with it. So that's definitely something to consider too. Yeah, again, what stats am I looking to build up on Romantu? Like I said, the speed will vary. You could build him like, you could have a nuker running at 130 speed. You could have Romantu 131. That's kind of unlikely. You might be running him a bit faster than that. For me, I tend to think probably around, 200 is more common, where he's going to be useful for Doom Tower waves as well and stuff like that. If you don't have an absolutely crazy team, like I do use my Romantu in Doom Tower waves. You can even go all the way up to 240. It really depends on the team. I think the important thing is just you want your damage dealer to be speed tuned to go in right after Romantu. So the speed does vary, and then building the accuracy as high as possible. Preferably going all the way up to something like 600 accuracy would be great. It's difficult to get it higher than that when you are in STONESKIN, but that could be really good. And that's really all he needs. He doesn't need anything else. And that's it. So that's Romantu. Now, if you don't have a Romantu, the same type of build does work for other buff strippers. So champions like maybe the most famous one, Madame Ceres, right? You can build her the exact same way. Really high accuracy, STONESKIN, just to make sure that she is going to come in and strip off these buffs. If you've got really good accuracy gear from STONESKIN, definitely hold on to it. Accuracy chest piece are amazing. Accuracy substat rolls and other pieces. And yeah, it just means that you can build them slow and they can go and do their thing. So yeah, he's number 3. Going to number 4 then, very similar champion, and that's Mighty Ukko. Very recent fusion. Now this is an interesting one. I do rate Ukko really high here. I think if you want to use Mighty Ukko in the arena, STONESKIN is definitely the way to go. Unfortunately, it does make Mighty Ukko a little bit worse at Hydra, but still good. So he's still a good option there, but STONESKIN is not an amazing set for Hydra, so that's something to bear in mind. And you're probably going to be putting him with accuracy masteries for arena as well, so you wouldn't have War Master, which would be the ideal one for Hydra. It depends what you need most in your account. Why do I like Ukko so much in STONESKIN? Number 1, he's not the tankiest champion in the world. Like, his defense is a bit low. He's okay, but not crazy. But he has a very similar move to Romantu. He's got that buff strip. So making sure Ukko goes in and strips their buffs, right? But then he also has a revive. So this is why I'm having him in I'm counting him as a separate champion than the Romantu Madame Ceres type champs. Because I would actually build these very differently. Whereas with Romantu, I want 4-piece STONESKIN and then probably 2-piece Perception. I don't need any more. With Ukko, I really like Ukko in the full 6-piece STONESKIN if possible. So we can come in, buff strip turn 1, and then revive turn 2, and STONESKIN can protect him through both of those. I think that is very, very powerful. And I think keeping him alive with STONESKIN, he becomes a real annoyance as well, because he's got a good chance to steal buffs with his passive, which is very strong. Again, if he gets the revive off, it's really annoying to deal with. He's just a very annoying champion, and I feel like STONESKIN builds on that, and it gives you that randomness in arena, that control that's very powerful. And the other big difference as well with Romantu, where I was saying, his speed can be even fairly low, and you're probably pushing 600 accuracy. With Ukko, I actually like to build the speed quite high, and you're going to have to drop some accuracy to do that. So I would say with Ukko, looking for more of a late game type build, probably looking for about 500 accuracy and going for something like, 250 plus speed. I want Ukko to be nice and quick. Get in early, strip off their buffs and get block buffs in there, just to be quite annoying. Then get back around to the revive in timely fashion. And then so he can cycle back to his moves, get a couple of A2s out with the decrease attack, which is very good as well. I think it kind of works if he goes a bit earlier because of that block buffs. That does allow him to go a little bit faster, and with the revive as well. So it's an interesting one. It's definitely a different type build. But yeah, there you go. Mighty Ukko. I do count him as a very different type build, and definitely one of the first champions I'd be looking to put in STONESKIN. And then finally, There were still a few options here. Honestly, we got a little bit tricky to choose, but I gotta go for the bomb champions. Gaius the Gleeful, another fusion this year. He'd be my 5th out of these, top 5 champions. The first ones I'd be looking to put in STONESKIN. Gaius has to stand out, or any other bomb champion really, because what they're doing is coming in with the bombs. Basically, he's a damage dealer, and like we said, for damage dealers, the big thing you're giving up is losing out on Savage. Not a problem with Gaius, not a problem with bombs, because bombs ignore all defense anyway. So bombs don't scale off Savage set at all. So you're not missing out on that. And what STONESKIN lets you do is to just stay alive, right? It makes it very difficult to deal with this champion. You've got that chance, that 50-50 to not have the STONESKIN stripped off. And if he comes in and he lands those bombs, you're in for a really bad time. So that's what I really like about Gaius. And again, because it's really all about this move here, you can definitely get away with just 4 pieces of STONESKIN. That can totally work. And then 2 other pieces. He wouldn't be the worst champion to put in full 6-piece, but it's definitely not essential. And how would I build Gaius? Again, this sort of varies. Honestly, it does sort of vary, because the speed, it really depends. The most important thing, again, he's coming in, he relies on placing these debuffs, so he needs to be really speed tuned with your buff stripper. Right, so let's say Romantu and Gaius, they're in a team together, both in STONESKIN, very powerful combo. He needs to be just 1 speed slower. So the Romantu strip goes, then the Gaius bombs go. That is going to give you the most consistent success, right? So that's what I'd recommend. But what that speed number is going to depend on your gear and what sort of team you want to build and the other champions that are going in. He could be as slow as like 120 speed, or he could be as quick as say 240 or something. It really varies. And then apart from that, with Gaius, with these bomb champions, bombs, we want attack, attack, attack. More attack equals more damage. And then we also want lots of accuracy. So be looking to get that accuracy over at least 500, and then giving as much attack as possible. You're just looking for gear pieces with lots of attack and accuracy. As you can see, that's a lot of stats we're talking about, so that's why the lower speeds start to make a bit more sense and become easier to tune. But there you go. That is Gaius. And again, other bomb champions work very much the same. And there you are. They are the top 5 champions that I would consider, or the type of champions as well, I would consider putting into STONESKIN with those first pieces of STONESKIN I get. If you don't have these champions, then similar champions along the same lines are definitely worth considering. It's such a powerful set for Arena. It can make an absolutely massive difference. And yeah, the set itself is so strong that it really changes how these champions work, makes them a much bigger threat than they would otherwise be. So there you go, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know what you think. Do you have any personal favorites in STONESKIN that I didn't mention? Like Staltus, close to my heart. He didn't quite make the top 5 here though, but I do love a Staltus defensive nuker in STONESKIN. But anyway, thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you all next time. Bye bye.